Thessalonica was a busy seaport in the Aegean Sea. It was an important communication and trade center and was located right in the junction along the Aegean Way, a Roman road that led all the way to the Danube. Its population was about 200,000 people at the time of St. Paul, making it the largest city in Macedonia, and it was also its capital of the province. The background of Thessalonica church is found in Acts chapter 17, verses 1 through 9. Paul began his ministry in the synagogue, but many Gentiles joined the church. He wrote a letter, 1 Thessalonians, back to the Christians here in about 51 A.D. Support for this is found at Delphi, Greece, which they found an inscription dating Galileo's proconsulship between 51 and 52 A.D. So this makes 1 Thessalonians one of Paul's earliest letters that he wrote. The purpose of the letter is to give them support of the new converts and about eschatology, the last things, the end of the world. They thought at Thessalonica that the world was going to end soon and they were just going to sit back and wait for the end to happen. And Paul exhorts them, don't just sit in a rocking chair and wait for the end of the world. Get busy. Get to work. So this is Paul's first letter to the Thessalonians. And Paul would have come through the wall, the gate right near here on the eastern side of Thessalonica.
Why the staircase is for this. Now, these are real gates. And today, if you will ask the Thessalonians about the name of this gate actually the double gate, they will say this is the great gate, although it's not that great as you say. And if you will ask them why you call this gate great, they will tell you tradition.
The gate where Paul walked through to get to Thessalonica.
For the good of her and her family. That is like a prayer. So that supports that theory. And you see lower down, Jewish graffiti. Here? Jewish graffiti.
Actually thought that was Jewish, right?
See if we can get a picture of that.
Yeah, the gate is many times reconstructed.
Jewish graffiti.
Have a picture taken here of our group.
Oh yes, we can do that.
You and this picture would also
Yeah, we can do that.
Jewish graffiti.
this way, Paul?
Yes.
Right here? Yeah, let's stand here.
68 was decided that the northern part here of the town square, the new court of the city to be built. When they started digging, they found the remains we see today of the Agora. The dictatorship decided that anyway they can make the court here, so they didn't pay any attention to the ruins. The archaeologists of the city, they were really scared of further distractions, and there was when called Macaronas who decided to chain himself to that pillar there. So the next day when the excavators went to remove the pillar, the drivers told him that if you do not leave from there, we are going to kill you. And his answer was, my life is not more precious than this rubble. And they started a conflict, and by the noon of that day, the entire city was gathered here, and there were some riots, and the dictatorship left the place as a pile of ruins and rubble. And after the falling of the dictatorship at 74, they started rearranging the whole thing and making excavations. No, the dictatorship gave a commission to these blocks of flats to be built at the area of the Agora. And also all these areas here is a part of the Agora. The good thing is that they didn't give the permission to these people to make basements. Yeah, so they have only drilled, for the pillars, the skeleton, footage.
Right here at the Agora in Thessalonica, the Apostle Paul was here, and a lot of trouble was stirred up here, and we want to read about it in Acts chapter 17, verse 1 through 10. It says, when they had passed through Amphipolis and Apollonaria, they came to Thessalonica, where there was a Jewish synagogue, and as his custom was, Paul went into the synagogue, and on the three Sabbath days, he reasoned with them from the Scriptures, explaining and proving that Christ had to suffer and rise from the dead. This is Jesus I am proclaiming to you is the Christ, he said. Some of the Jews were persuaded and joined Paul and Silas, as did a large number of God-fearing Greeks and not a few prominent women. But the Jews were jealous, so they rounded up some bad characters from the marketplace. That's the Agora that you can see right here. And formed a mob and started to riot in the city here. They rushed to Jason's house in search of Paul and Silas in order to bring them out to the crowd. But when they did not find them, they dragged Jason and some of the other brothers before the city officials. The Greek word here is apolotar, shouting, "These men who have caused trouble all over the world have now come here, and Jason has welcomed them into his house. They are all defying Caesar's decrees, saying that there is another king, one called Jesus." When they heard this, the crowd and the city officials were thrown into turmoil, and they made Jason and the others post bond, and they let them go. As soon as it was night, the brothers sent Paul and Silas away to Berea. So we have a riot here in Thessalonica. They came before the city officials here, claiming they were causing trouble. And so Paul and Silas has had to flee from Thessalonica at night and go to Berea. And these things happen right here in the Agora that you see. Now the word for a city ruler in Acts chapter 17 verse 6 is the Greek term politarch, which literally means city ruler. Now, skeptics said there's no other place in Greek literature that this word for city ruler is found. So they were skeptical about this, that this must be a later writing, not of St. Paul's at all, because this word is never used. Until 1835, a Greek inscription was found with this city ruler on it. And we're going to have Christos is going to go into great detail about what happened.
The only source this title of the municipal authorities of the city was mentioned
And the main
was
gate
the
was
Book of
right
Acts.
here.
Luke
This
used that title
crossroad.
to describe the authorities, the local authorities, the municipal authorities, and he was the only one for many centuries known in using that title. In 19th century, the skeptics, the professors of Central Europe, Tübingen University in Germany, they were thinking that this term, the term politarchs, was invented by monks in Middle Ages, and the two verses where this term was mentioned were pointed out as some inaccurate verses of the New Testament. And there was a debate about how the authorities were called here in Thessaloniki. When the gate was demolished and this inscription was found, the Ottoman, the Turk workers were working there, called the British Chancellor of the city, who was a Greek scholar, to read the inscription and to find out if was something important. The British Chancellor was a believer, and when he saw the inscription and read the inscription, he was thrilled, and he asked them how much do they like for him to buy that stone. The answer was half a kilo of wine. Yes. And the inscription today is in the British Museum. But since 1900s, when that inscription was found, more than 30 other inscriptions were found in the city, and a huge number of inscriptions found in the surrounding area where this term is mentioned. Verifying once more the biblical truth and disproving the theories of the scholars. Now here we cross the walls of the city. You see on both sides the walls, the western walls. We enter in the city from west, and we go to see the Agora of the city and the Basilica of Saint Demetrius. Very soon we are going to be there. Tomorrow morning we are going to see the best preserved part of the walls, which is at the northern part of the city, the northern walls. They discovered they are part of the palace of Cassander, which later in the Roman time was used as the Praetorium. So, yeah, the dream for an underground parking place disappeared, was evaporated. Here on the right we have the ruins of the Cassandrian palace. later the Praetorium, very close to the Agora. The Agora of Thessaloniki was very big. Thessaloniki was one of the capitals of the Roman Empire. We are going to walk first to see the Agora, and then we are going to see the Basilica.
In 1968, it was decided that
Demetrius was a distinguished member of the Roman army, and he converted to Christ and became a Christian martyr, and this basilica commemorates him.
St. Demetrius.
yes, look here, you see the short door? Behind is the altar. On the altar is the golden thing. This is the actual tabernacle. There they keep the blessed bread. This is the church? Yes, it's a church. Most of the church is a building which was built in the 5th century, and since then until today, without interruption, is open to the worship, the religious worship. Yes. Yes. All of God, we are both worshippers.